Hi, my name's Daria and I'm a tutor. I tutor primarily English and maths, mostly to younger learners, so primary school age. In terms of exams, 7+, 8+, 11+, lots of 11+. And I have also tutored English and maths at GCSE level to teenagers, but also to adult learners looking to go back and retake their GCSEs. But I primarily focus on 11+. I really enjoy being a tutor. I really love it. I really love the fact that I get to work with my students really closely. I enjoy tailoring my approach to the students that I'm working with. I think that's very important. And I love watching my students progress and grow in confidence and just go from strength to strength. Exams can be a really stressful time for students, and I think they don't have to be. I think that's really important. I think given how competitive some of the schools, especially in the UK, are, I think it's so important to build confidence in the learners. Well, I think 11+, the schools, there is quite a range in terms of the exams. So I think different schools do look for different things. So it's very important to find out which school the learner's actually going for, what's their top choice, and then specifically tailor the approach to that. I think especially a lot of schools will have a certain type of question that they will ask year in, year out pretty much. And they will of course vary that, and it's very important to keep up to date with that. But I think making sure that the learner's prepared for their particular choice of school is very important. Well, nonverbal and verbal reasoning have very set types of questions that reoccur in most papers. So it's one of those things where if you break it down into types of questions, you can absolutely then further break it down by steps with different techniques that you can have for each different type of question. I think the problem is that some people say you can't really teach nonverbal and verbal reasoning because the questions are so mixed, but I think it's just about breaking it down step by step, really. So a lot of the time my students are international students. They will go to international schools, but in London. But for example, I had a student called Oliver who went to a French school, so most of his lessons were in French. So when it came to, for example, maths, a lot of the 11+ maths questions are word questions, so that would be challenging. Also, there is, of course, kind of a comprehension and a creative writing component, which again, given that Oliver's primarily being taught in French, he had some English lessons, and his English was at a good level for having been in the country for a couple of years. The exam's designed to cater for native speakers, so it can be quite a challenging time. I tutored Oliver for a year, and within a year, he really just came on in such a wonderful way. And in the end, he had his choice of schools, really. So he really wanted to go to St. Paul's, which he got into, but he also got into Latymer, and he got into Westminster, and it was just, it was really wonderful to see this kind of amazing progress in him. So I think it's really important to assess the learner quite early, as really a first thing, and then to really get a level and to kind of have a breadth of understanding of anything that they know already or anything that they're missing. And from there build a fairly detailed long-term plan in terms of kind of as long as they're having tuition for, so just having a step-by-step guideline of everything that will be covered. And sometimes tuition can be quite intensive because, of course, you're covering maybe a year or 2 years worth of material in the space of a much shorter amount of time because you're preparing for an exam, you have a deadline. So I think it's just sometimes condensing that material but making it manageable and just step by step.